the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Remember to silence your cell phones if you have them. Due to a closed session earlier, item number 2 on the agenda is citizen concerns. Not seeing any today or knowing of any, the boardroom, the phone number to call in if you do have a citizen concern is again 712-224-6014. Item 3 is approval of the agenda. I'll move it. Second by DeWitt. Hearing no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Items 4 through 8 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 4 is approval of the minutes of the May 5th meeting. Item 5 is approval of the claims. Item 6 from Board Administration is the approval of lifting tax suspensions for petitioners who failed to recertify their income or income does not qualify for continued tax suspension. Item 7 from the County Auditor is consideration and approval of a liquor license for the White Horse Patrol. Item 8 from Human Resources includes A, approval of the Memorandum of Personnel Transactions, B, the authorization to initiate the hiring process, and C, approval of request to deauthorize county positions. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by Radig. Hearing no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 9 for action from the Communications Center. Glenn Sedevy put this on the agenda. It's to approve the LEC fiber optic infrastructure request for proposal for a public-private partnership and to authorize it to be sent to the local internet service providers. Dennis, do you have anything to reference on this?
Not really. What the 50,000 is, that's actually the cost of the materials. It'll probably close, talking to Glenn, he said probably cost close to 100 by the time you get all labor in. They're trying to talk to the fiber optic companies, possibly in cost sharing some of this possibly. Okay. So, and then when we do get it going, we'll have to figure out where we're going to pay from.
Glenn's right behind you now.
Mr. Sedevy, we're on your item if you want to address it.
The LAC, part of that project's going to need fiber optic network to it. We know that. The estimations that I've put together could be anywhere near $50,000 or more, depending on the contractor. Those prices were obtained through the per footage cost or the Eco Nature Center fiber that we did last year. So to kind of give us a good idea of what per foot cost will be. So I reached out to, we have a fiber optic committee, and we talked about this, and we thought it would be best to try to get some public-private partnership put together, try to get some interest, maybe from a Fibercom, a Longline, CenturyLink, ICN, reach out to those folks and see if we can't get some type of a partnership to help offset the costs and share the cost of construction and the operations of this project. So I put together this RFP, so I'm here today to see if I can get permission to send this out to all the private companies here in Sioux City and see if we can't get some movement on it.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any other discussion?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 10 from the County Sheriff is for action. This is on making the application for the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program solicitation for FY 2020 formula grant. Go ahead.
Dave Drew, Sheriff. This is a grant that
It awards 170 agencies, $272 million. And I believe, and I know there is no match, so it's $58,008. We just fill it out. That is going to be used for, but not limited to, overtime, hiring, supplies such as gloves, masks, sanitizers, training, travel expenses. The main one is addressing the medical needs of inmates in the state local jail. So in case we get it, it could cover some of those costs. So we'll be filling that out, and I anticipate that we'll get the $58,000.
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Potabom. Any discussion? Good luck. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 11 from Secondary Roads for action is consider the approval of plans for project number parent 140.
This is for a new bridge over the West Fork of the Little Sioux River on 200th Street. The bridge was closed last year due to deficiencies in the substructure. We've finally got our DNR permit, and we're ready to go to letting through DOT in August. I recommend approval of the plans.
Move it. I'll second the motion by DeWitt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 12, again, for action is due to COVID-19, the board will be discussing various issues and may take appropriate steps for the protection and safety of both the community and the county employees. Are there any issues to discuss? Anyone on the line? Nope. Any updates?
Do we have anything on reopening?
Well, we've been hearing that the governor was going to say something but didn't. So
Postponed it again.
have something when we have something, and when we know something, we'll know something. Any other issues? It'll be the first week we don't have anything to discuss about this, which is fine, because I think we're all tired of discussing it. Item 13, any reports on committee meetings?
So I had a Simcoe meeting, and Mark, I think you're on the tech committee for, was it the MPO, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the MPO and the RPA.
And so the MPO board just did the tech recommendations, but we had, Sergeant Bluff went and rescinded their ordinance to allow truck traffic.
On First Avenue.
On
That
First
was
Avenue.
Very good news, yes.
Yeah, but then they weren't awarded the project due to fear of lack of funds in the future. So I'm sure they'll ask for it again next year, but I think they were a little, their representative from Sergeant Bluff was probably a little upset that.
Aaron was disappointed too, but Sioux City was really pushing to hold back these funds, not knowing where they're going with the viaduct project on Gordon. Gordon is the next really big project coming here, and it's going to be some pretty serious expenses for the MPO, and they're looking at utilizing some of those funds to participate in it. We also could have an interchange coming, so both of these are really kind of working against that Sergeant Bluff project at this point.
I voted, to fund that, I know, against the plan to fund that, because it was just me and Bill from Sergeant Bluff that voted to fund that. Anyway, I think it would be good. I mean, we asked them to, change their ordinance. They followed through, but then we didn't send them the money, So I just thought that, I don't know. But that was a board decision, not the tech committee. I mean,
I think
board
they were
can do
faced
it.
with some difficult choices at this point.
Sure.
Because of, there's some high dollar impending projects out there right now.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I had a Siouxland District Health meeting. One thing was brought up about the daily numbers they report during the pandemic in regards to the recovered patients. I asked what happens if they can't complete a contact tracing for someone who tested positive, and that's about 20% of the people, where Siouxland District Health tries 5 times and they can't get in contact either because it's a bad number or language barrier, or they just don't answer, or they hang up, or they don't want to talk to anybody. That's about 20%. And what happens to those individuals is they're just, at least at that time, they never show as recovered. But they probably did. So the moral of that story is that the recovered patients are undercounted. And that's just a function of how you have to go about reporting. I thought that was interesting. Item 14, any citizen concerns?
Oh, I did have another.
Sure.
I sent you that 2080, and I sent it to the attorney and Joshua as well. I don't know if Joshua had any comment on it, if he's on the line.
He's not.
He's not, okay. Because I'll probably bring that back for a vote. So there's some other attorneys made some minor tweaks to it, and I'll get the new one to you. So we can have a vote on that. That's for the workforce development.
I did have one citizen concern that came up today. My office was contacted by Dan Hisserode. He's the guy developing the Overlook subdivision. It would be up above Target and where that new Staybridge Suites Hotel is going. It's all those townhomes that are along Christie Avenue. They're looking to do a project that would extend the trail in front of those properties around to Singing Hills Drive. Not, is it Singing Hills? It's the north one? Sargent Road, I'm sorry. So where Sargent Road comes out, goes over to the Casey's. They're looking at bringing a 7-foot trail around to there. Our primary involvement with this will be permitting from our department's perspective. They may want you to consider some funding going toward that. They're trying to develop as much private funding to extend that trail as they can.
Is that all private property in there? Some of that's county property, isn't it?
It is county property from where the Overlook subdivision ends all the way around to that corner on Sargent Road.
The north-south, the whole way is pretty much county except for that.
That whole west side is county.
Yeah.
And the city limits cuts around quite a few properties in that area.
Yeah.
But again, that would be county. They're getting cooperation from Sioux City Parks. They probably will be asking the board if it's possible to give some assistance on that. Secondary Roads isn't allowed to spend its money within the city limits for projects of that nature.
Well, that's not
MPO
necessarily.
funds, and TAP is tapped out until 2024. So.
That county property isn't in the city limits, is it?
No, the county property is not in the city limits. But, again, we don't build sidewalks with our county secondary road money either.
Well, it's not a sidewalk, it's a bike trail.
Huh?
It's a bike trail.
Well, that would be a board option. You would find your county engineer opposed to that.
Sure.
But
I would expect nonetheless.
yeah, that is a possibility. But I'm expecting they will be contacting you. If nothing else, they are looking for a permit to do the work, and we're going to continue to develop this with them, trying to explore what private and city funds might be out there to assist with it at this point. I was also going to contact conservation. I don't know if this is a trail they're terribly interested in because it doesn't connect to a park. Wanted you to be aware of it.
All right.
I have,
Yes.
it's been no fun to be the county auditor lately here, but I did secure 5 polling places after going to court and agreeing to do that. But it was very difficult getting just those 3 additional polling places. Nobody wants to talk to me at this point, and the thing that we did over the years is we moved out of schools into churches, because most of the schools are locked down at this point. So just kind of making you aware that in November, if things don't really turn around much, it's going to get pretty nasty. Because what happens is that I moved out of I had one church selected and was looking at another one, and those folks are getting very nervous about letting us into those places. And so what happens is that I have the ability to go into any publicly funded building, which means schools and city facilities mostly. And just had a really ugly conversation trying to get one polling place this time. And over the years with the school system, it's been pretty difficult to do. But in November, if things don't really improve much, it's going to be very difficult to find polling places and schools. One of the things are precinct election officials. One of the things that made it very difficult just to get a couple of sites in Sioux City this time at schools where they're running food programs. They're feeding kids out of those buildings. And they were very concerned that they would have to shut down those programs for a week, and it would cost a tremendous amount of money to decontaminize the building. That was the same discussion that I heard in another city building, but just letting you know that that might be something that you might be hearing about in the future as we look towards November.
If need be, you have the option, ability to secure public buildings.
We do. They don't like it, but we do. And,
That would make you even more popular.
that might be what we're forced to do. We've had that over the years, and we kind of moved into, and a lot of people didn't like moving into churches either. You can't win, but we can't be put in a position where we go into a place and at the last second they say no. Thank you.
Very good. Any other board concerns? Dennis?
Just a short update on 2 items. Matthew, myself, and I think Kenny was there. We did meet with the city on the 20E agreement between the city and county on the off-site construction project, the road, the sewer, things like that. That went, I thought, very well. So Brian Wells is drawing up a new draft to come before both sides.
Yeah.
Also, the lease purchase agreement between the county and the authority. Jason, attorney, was reviewing that this afternoon with the additions that Dan Moore had reviewed from the authority. And then we'll get that sent out to all you people, and also Joshua for any comments there or corrections, and then from there we move on. So we are getting closer and closer.
Thanks for bringing that up. Mr. DeWitt was there as well, and I think the main thing to update the board on is that we just agreed there was no need for sidewalks in the project. Any other major updates from that? We just wanted to, balance the infrastructure improvements that the city does to focus on the building and the needs of the law enforcement center itself. Any other board concerns? We are adjourned.